Chronicle of the Crown, session 21. And last time we left off on a pub crawl inspired by the ghost of a vivacious criminal from the distant past who has shared Kameron's body for the night. Yeah, Aldor. And Kameron thus has been, as Kameron entered into a pact with Aldor about some information about the current inhabitants of a secluded ancient sewer network piece. Kameron had to drink, dance, and be merry, eat well. And that's exactly what we've been doing for the night. And Kameron, would you please, as we have finished with the sunrise, you find yourselves, all three of you, you're on a low rooftop watching the sunrise because that's what Aldor wanted to do. That's where the condition for the agreement is fulfilled. That's the last thing he wanted to do. And you've just finished doing it. Now, Kameron, you're getting hit with the as Aldor's spirit passes from your body, you get hit with the full effects of your nightly escapades. So yeah, give us a let's start with this question here. Did Kameron, go full hog? Because Aldor cannot control Kameron directly and fully. It's only, this is what I want to do. How hard did Kameron go? You are muted.
Yeah, I was thinking I would have drank several pints, some spirits, definitely, maybe a dance or two as he wanted to dance. I wouldn't have touched the nog. That's probably where I would have drawn the line, because that would have probably put me into a coma for a couple of months. But yeah, I would hit it pretty hard, I'd say. Yeah. Like sailor, first day back on land, kind of hard.
Yeah, a fresh batch of grog, I guess, and rum. Okay, so what do we have here? What do we have? Right. Okay, so yeah, if you're going pretty hard on the booze, let's go with obstacle 3.
Oh boy. Okay.
For this smashing good time.
I don't get any help or advantage in this case. I don't have booze wise.
No.
Where's Galavi when you need him?
How to get drunk with ghosts wise.
Yeah. Oh my God.
There we go. So yeah, the chill passes from you as the spirit leaves, and you get hit with the warmth, the afterglow of of the booze that you've drank, and yeah, you're feeling pretty good, pretty jovial. You haven't slept at all though, and you've danced the night away, so feeling a little bit tired, but not too much because you succeeded in your role. This is the one thing with sorcerers. They're pretty hardy folk because otherwise you die.
Summoning takes it out of you.
Yeah.
I feel like I've just drawn a circle and burnt myself on a few candles. But I'm not dead on my feet.
No.
Function.
So yeah, the rest of you feel the presence of Aldor leave as well. You've never seen Aldor in any kind of physical form. Aldor is a discorporated spirit that only embodies or was embodied in Kameron's flesh.
Did it have any physical change when he was
yeah, you were a pale, sunken features, a little bit whispery. Like you noticed the change come over him as Aldor possessed him. Right. Yeah, you're on the rooftop. It's a fine sunrise.
Beautiful sunrise.
In the spring, as we are. And yeah, What do you want to do?
I'll take a few seconds to enjoy just the warmth, of the day, hoping that this is going to be a good day, a good productive day.
Well, we've got until the evening that's when we're supposed to meet with Sir Raphael. But until then, I don't have any concrete plans. I was probably hoping to go and visit Father Ambrogino's and help out a little bit with his ministrations, the poor and the injured and such like. But obviously, if the two of you need any assistance from me, I'm more than happy to delay that slightly to help you.
Tell Father Ambrogino send him my regards. Hopefully we'll solve that pesky grain issue of his soon. But I do have some accounting to do and some other bits and knobs. Shall we meet back, say, around dinner time before we have to meet with your captain friend?
Yes, that sounds most reasonable.
That's fair enough. All right, gents.
Until later, and
I
switch the cloak, jump down off the roof.
Yeah.
I'm going to attempt something magical. I'm not summoning with this head. No. I'm gonna go to a garden. If this city has some nice gardens.
Yeah. It's not as focused on gardens per se, but it is a much bigger city than Riethel is. So there are green areas. But
Okay.
they're not.
Do we know what time of year it is? I think we did establish.
Yeah,
when
spring.
Spring. Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Currently, we're in spring.
Okay. So I'm going to take some parchment out and write a letter.
Right.
If such a thing, I need to make a roll for. I think I'm not that.
It depends on what are we doing. Who are you sending it to? What do you want?
I want to send a letter to Beric.
All right.
And I know Ostar's gone back there.
Yep.
And I want to send a letter there to see basically get an update on what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
I know sending it by person might take some time. So my intention is to write a letter and then to convince one of the birds in this park to take it to him.
Okay. All right.
And possibly bring it back.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Yeah, bring back the reply. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So you're casting your animal speak then?
Yes, I am, because let's just do some magic when you're hungover.
Yeah. Why not? But yeah. So what do you put on the message?
So essentially, it's just so you say explaining it's me. It's Kameron Redwin. I just in case it's like this is intercepted. I don't directly say I've got the crown.
I've got the crown. It's located in my.
I'm just saying the goal that which we came to with originally has been successful. We have it. We are currently marshalling ourselves in the city, which I can't remember the name off the top of my head.
Kaer Amaros.
Yeah, Kaer Amaros. I knew it was Kaer
Amaros.
The last news we heard, you had to abandon your homestead because of the king and the now captured forces of the First Flame. And just to get an idea of like what kind of situation he's in, because I need to figure out what priority. If we manage to get all our ducks in a row, we get a force together, we get the nobles on side. Then we have to decide who we're going to go after first, who we're going to have to contend with. So I want to know how bad things are there, and and just say, is Oster okay? Has he made it back safe? Because
Dramatic pause.
Oh, is that
the internet?
Aldor's come back.
No, Aldor, no.
Well, while
I was fascinated by what was happening, but
while Kameron recovers from this hungover episode,
it's frozen him too in the most great places. Like,
so the two of you, any business you need to take care of, we can deal with.
several items, but Ishmael.
Yeah.
Well, mine's fairly simple. I'm hoping to go to Ambrogino's church and basically spend a few hours sort of like helping him minister to the sick and the less fortunate, as I do regularly anyway. I'll obviously pass on Wyatt's regards to him. Mention that we're sort of like looking into seeing if we can do something about the grain problem, etc. But I don't imagine unless something unexpected happens, I'm really doing anything that need a dice roll. I'm just sort of like helping him like change liniments, bandage people up, maybe using a little bit of my herbal knowledge, but under his direction, basically.
Yeah. Like things like this, where you're going somewhere to do. Oh,
I think Cameron's regained consciousness.
Yeah,
he's alive.
I think I was thwarted by the Fox Daddy there because my internet just went down.
Yeah, but Ishmael, so this is a good example of things you might just put down as a note that you were doing this stuff in the monastery because this is things that we can use later to mark down some practice time for
cool.
some,
you know,
maybe herbalism, maybe like there's basically like a labor skill, like physical labor. Like I don't hauling it's called. So basically just doing physical labor as well. Just if there's a lot of these things where you go somewhere to do some stuff and a lot of time passes, you just make a little note somewhere like, oh, I did that.
Like most of a day passes. That's like an entire day of practice, basically.
Yeah. So just keeping random notes like this, good fodder for later. Okay, so Cameron, you have written your little message, rather extensive message, because you want to include a lot of current events and also asking for updates. So you write that and you have it all set up, and now you need a bird.
Yeah, that's why I came to a park. I thought maybe this might be a place I could find one that would be able to make the journey.
So you find one of the green areas. As it's spring, the leaves are starting to sprout, and there are migrant birds have returned, chirping cheerfully in the trees. Do your thing, magic man.
Okay, I will attempt to converse with them. I think this is obstacle 4.
You can find it in your magic thing.
Yeah, it is. I think I was just reading the thing.
Low speech.
Good luck.
Yeah, obstacle 4 birds. Yeah.
Oh boy. Okay. Oh nope, didn't mean to do that. That's the wrong button, guys. That does not do it.
That's the info for everyone.
Yeah, I don't have any forks. Or do I have anything that can help me in this?
It's a sorcery roll,
you could fork in certain things, but you gotta
it's rather specific.
This is the bit when you're angling for that right skill. There, I tell me, you're like, actually, I have lesser spotted chaffinch law.
Astrology, aura reading, or symbology are the 3 that you could fork in.
I mean, I've got astrology.
Yeah.
You can always add in. So let's talk about this shit. You can always put in astrology to any skill thing you roll. But we need to do it separate because the algorithm cannot handle the awesome power of the stars.
Yeah, right. It's because it works very differently.
Yeah, because it's it's a bit specific. By a bit, I mean a lot.
I don't know why they did that, but it's hilarious.
Yeah, but it's the same sort of method, like specificity in very specific places. That
so
just
I can't fork it in, or
you can put in an astrology fork there, but you need to roll a d6 separately because that die is open-ended in both ways, regardless of whatever the skill is you're doing. Like you could farm and add in astrology, because that's you consulting your star charts and being like, oh, today is a good day to plant potatoes,
the auspices are favorable.
And it can explode upwards, but it can also go down, and it can reduce your successes by 1 if you fuck up real bad.
Symbology.
Yeah.
Symbology.
I don't have symbology. That's
why not? You're a goddamn summoner, sorcerer.
No, he's got other shit going.
Wait, can I use bargaining in this?
No.
It's specific. It's those three forks. It's sorcery, aura reading, or symbology. And basically, astrology and symbology are the ones you can basically always use, whereas
Okay.
aura reading is only if you're using mage sense or second sight.
Right. Okay. So I won't do that. But I will use 2 Arthur.
Ooh,
To persona. Ooh, we're
clapping it down.
do it.
Because I want to. This could really give me important information.
That's
and,
fair. Yeah.
And
Yeah,
I've
but
met Beric. He's
but
not just a dude.
also it could give you some like amazing event, whether it goes wrong or works.
Mhm.
Like what happened to me. That was. Oh, you
Oh,
gotta use that. all the
look,
time.
dude, I'm-
Right in the kisser.
I'm using my fate as well. Fuck it, we're going. We're
Take that,
getting.
bitch.
Yeah. So if you're putting in fate, just roll 1 die. You're
Yeah.
already open-ended. It already rolled the extra 6s.
I'm
Okay.
imagining Cameron's like one of those Disney princesses where they do the song
There
and
you
the birds
go.
all come
Oh
down.
my god! Yeah,
Birds
baby.
love you. Oh,
God.
the Gates Ventura.
And
All
actually,
right.
I even got some like XP.
Yeah,
That's
shoot,
me.
man.
It's incredible.
The greatest session of your life.
Oh my god!
It's the one you've been waiting for.
It's unfortunately not the type that I need to get the extra die, but it's still
Yeah.
appreciated.
So low speech. I'm just checking, but okay, here we go.
Says it in his little box right here.
Yeah, allows you to, yeah, cool. So what you have now done is you have ensorcelled your throat to be able to produce bird sounds. So now now you need to convince a bird to be
Okay.
your messenger.
Is this where bargaining comes in?
No, bargaining is for summoning stuff.
Okay.
Hmm.
You know
can
what? I think this
persuade
is
a
the.
bird.
I think
Quick
this is the.
question. Quick question. Just not to be
Yeah.
persnickety, but what's your sorcery skill, Cameron?
It's 4 currently.
4? Because basically the actual difficulty for that one is if I'm reading the box correctly is 5. So actually you should have
the-
got
No,
experience. for that,
then this is again specifics here. So for this,
'cause it's birds.
it's difficult. It's actually correct what it says there on the roll.
Yeah, because it's right at the edge of my skill level,
Yeah,
essentially.
because you don't count persona at a dice.
No.
Oh, right.
Yeah. That's how you
Right,
get.
sorry,
That's how
I
you.
was-
That's
I
how you punch
apologize.
above your weight class.
You're
Yeah.
right. Yes. I
Yeah.
apologize.
No, it's fine.
That threw me off. I forgot that was a rule.
Yeah,
I was just watching out for you. I want to make sure you get
yeah,
bro.
sure. and reminding people to
Yeah, fair
mark
enough.
their things is always good because you need to do that.
I love the way Matthew's like, "Well, you got to talk about my dice, bro.
Come on, man. Come on, man.
Talk about bro."
Okay.
Back up, bro.
Okay, so tell me, Matthew, what do? You can now squawk like a bird.
So yeah, I'm gonna. I'll have brought a little bit of food with me.
Also, sorry, apologies. Fort roll,
Oh, come on, man.
obstacle 4.
Well, that's always because we had Crescent Magic. right?
Dude, no, that's not. No. Okay. Obstacle 4. All right, because
Yeah.
because of the.
Yeah, because it's
obstacle.
the spell.
Okay, here we go.
You got this, bro.
No, I
Okay,
haven't.
You don't got
not too
this.
bad. Not too bad. You can add 1 on your sickness fatigue thing there. You're fine.
Fine.
Could he spend fate there? 'Cause he's got
Yeah, couldn't
sixes.
you just spend space because
Oh,
could
you got
spend
2
fate.
6s. You
Yeah.
can spend fate there, Matthew.
Yeah,
Should
go
I
on,
do
bro.
that?
Get in
Should
there.
I?
It's up to
Yeah.
you, man.
no,
I was just
definitely.
presenting it as an option in case you're
Yeah,
limited.
why not? Never mind.
There's 2 6s, man.
Yeah, you get to roll two. You get to roll an
Go
extra
on.
dice as well,
Go
mate.
on. Go on. Roll another one.
This doesn't usually happen, guys. Usually it's everyone's.
There we go. There we go.
Ooh,
So you're fine.
you're doing
it-
well.
It
You know
didn't
what I
tax
figured
you.
out? I'm an awesome sorcerer when I'm drunk. That's what it is.
Yeah, it turns out you
hammered
need to
all
be
the time.
drunk to do this.
You are the drunken
It's
sorcerer.
like when people say they play pool better when they've had a few drinks.
I do.
That's it, yeah,
I do.
that's
It's
it.
true.
Yeah.
It's true.
So let's sit back and let Matthew tell what the shit are you doing with the birds now?
You know what? This is the first time this spell's ever actually worked.
Mhm.
So yeah, it actually is very disorientating for like a minute and a half because it's like suddenly all this noise becomes comprehensible. So it's them talking about mundane stuff, about food, about
It's like food. Let's reproduce.
Yeah. I basically try to convince them that there's some really good food and some nice bird action up in the north.
Mhm.
That's my quote of the session. There's some
Yeah.
nice bird action up in the
Action
north.
up in the north.
I think that might be the quote of the campaign.
The campaign. Bird action. No, and like I brought a bit of food with me, and
Mhm.
that I want to encourage them to get out of their comfort zone while it's springtime. Like
Yeah.
see a bit of the world.
Yeah. Travel, see the world.
And
Take messages around places.
if they come back to me with a response,
Mhm.
I will reward them with more food.
Ah, that is
Food
a
of their
wonderful
choice.
offer.
Yeah,
They
food
like
of their
food.
They do like food.
Okay, so what are you rolling here to
man.
let them know that this is great?
Well, I've given them
There's-
some food
Yep.
to show that I'm a legit
Mhm.
negotiator in this.
Yep.
Got the
Not like
message.
those fly-by-night sort of rapscallions who are
Right.
deceiving the birds with their promises. They're empty promises.
I guess I'm using persuasion, but
Mhm.
I don't know. If
I guess you could make a long shot for etiquette.
Oh,
Bird etiquette.
roll on your millet wise.
Yeah, I think persuasion is probably your
I
best
kind of
thing
need
on
to know
the
the
list.
difficulty really, which I don't know if I know going in what it is before I select the skill.
No, this is so Mouse Guard has a thing called no weasels, which is when you pick a thing, you go through with it.
Yeah.
Like no taking back.
Yeah.
Backsies,
Doing it.
but Burning Wheel has a thing, also a header, a rule called no weasels, followed by ... but weasels. Because in Burning Wheel there's room to negotiate a little bit here, so
Yeah.
it's not as straight ahead as that is. So I like my personal opinion, persuasion. Like there's
That's the one that makes the most
Yeah.
sense.
yeah. Unless you want to go for a curveball and talk philosophy to these birds, like travel and you will
Travel.
come back changed. You will be a different bird.
It's equal either the way with the terms of what juice I've got to work with. Man. Come
Yeah.
on.
Depends on how deep you want to.
Mm.
How deep do you want to go?
On your
Persuasion
wings, you are a
is-
sparrow, but in your heart, you are a falcon.
I've done this on my own, so I don't really have anyone can help me. It's just this is all on me.
Mhm.
Okay, so what's the difficulty?
Oh,
It has to be lower than like 20 because
yeah,
I can speak to them.
everyone's probably surprised. Birds don't have a great
And
amount of
they like
willpower.
food. I've brought them food. It's a very simple job. They go to a place, they deliver a message, they wait for them to give them a response.
Mhm. I'm looking for. Okay, I guess we'll go with bird of prey, maybe, because I don't think. Well, that's a bird of prey. It would have a bit of a. Okay, so it is obstacle 1 because
God,
it's a regular prey
I could
bird.
actually make this.
I believe in you, man. I believe in you.
Do I spend another? Do I spend another?
Do it now.
Arthur? Yeah, I'm gonna put another Arthur in. I'm gonna do it. It gives me at least, a good chance of actually making it. Huh! Oh my god!
There we go. Okay, so you've convinced the bird that it's in its best interest to take your message up
Bring you
north.
back.
There's going to be some food and some bird action, and it's going to bring you back a reply from Barrick as well, and then get more food from you. So it's like laughing all the way to the bird bank with this deal. Okay, so it chirps and it does a little bird dance. And
it's lucky because option B was summoning a spirit to possess a bird, and then really
it's like
Right, yeah.
fly, my ghostly pretties. Yeah. So it takes your message and sets off on the great journey.
Essentially, I'm giving the wheelmaster and more plot points to introduce whenever.
Yeah.
But I want to know what's going on there.
It's always worked out well for you in the past.
It has. I am a plot engine.
Mm-hmm. Cool. Okay, so we've set a bird on a mighty quest. What else? Anything else, Cameron, you want to deal with?
Oh, sorry, I was just finally asking about the internet.
Yep.
Oh, that probably won't take me that long, will it? Really?
Half an
Probably
hour.
not.
The whole
I'm
day.
gonna go and get some breakfast and
Mhm,
like a strong coffee in this world because I'm
mhm,
even though I'm not hanging, I've still got a big headache.
mhm.
Yeah, I imagine the coffee in Karamos is probably pretty sweet too. If
Yeah.
we're thinking this is supposed to be our version of like a Jerusalem Silk Road, everything converging, and
Yeah, there's a lot of people there from different places.
yeah.
Yeah,
Plus,
I imagine it'd be
overlap,
like the old, they used to have the old like spiced like hot chocolates and coffee like back in the day. I imagine it'd be something like that because like you say the trade road, Silk Road, tend to get plenty of like spices and stuff like that.
And the smells I imagine in the bazaars and
Yeah.
restaurants are just probably insane.
Yeah. Okay, good. So you go refresh yourself with with a hearty breakfast.
Yeah.
Oh,
Talking to my familiar, like, did you see that? Did you see that?
It's grooming itself like yes,
I
yes.
Nailed it.
Okay,
can do
so
magic.
you spend, let's say, a couple of hours doing that. Anything else you want to do for the rest of the day? I'm just looking.
Oh, I know what I do.
for,
Yes, I
like, a full
100%
day.
want to get a bath. I know
Right.
that sounds sounds very mundane, but I've got a wound.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
needs to
Oh
be
yeah,
cleaned.
that's true. You never really, we
yeah.
never working on that, aren't we?
Yeah. It's
So.
like Ishmael fixed it up kind of nice, and basically all that's left to do is just like wash away everything. But yeah. So
sort myself out.
aside from that, anything else for the day before we have the meeting?
Do I have time to do a
evening?
bit of research?
Yes.
Oh, I'm just living it up here in the Cameron things.
And this would be in your Dark Watcher underground
Probably,
tower.
possibly, yeah.
Okay.
Possibly.
So what are we researching? Let's make a roll for that. That'll take some time, so that's the rest of your day.
Yeah, that will.
Yeah.
Essentially, what I'm trying to do, and this is going to introduce more locations in this world, is looking at other lesser known magic groups. Like, could you have the big circle in Raythil? Right?
Yeah. The Tower of Wisdom.
I know there's kind of hedge wizards out there and like court summoners. Just what other organizations are out there, if there are small groups, cabals, that are still around, that still exist, or I could find that are still operating.
There's one Karamoros.
So
for sure, right?
So what I'm hearing is you want to make a circles roll?
You want to establish wizarding orders, or do you want to know about them possibly existing as two different intentions, right?
Yeah. I want to basically know what. I'm not saying we want to establish them, but I want to see what historically have been around, and if any still remain.
Okay. Then my question is: do you want to establish that, or do you want me to do that?
Yeah.
I was going to let you do that in this case.
Yeah, that's fine. Okay, so yeah, we can do research, and this is you just going in and looking through basically who wrote the books on stuff. All right. Yeah. Let's go. Let's find you an obstacle. Unless you want to start working on a wise of some kind, we can do that as well.
Like wizard wise. Ooh.
Yes, because we did establish. I think I tried pulling that up with. We were talking about not Cinered, our old pal from the north,
Rathwin,
and you said specifically like you have sorcery wise, about sorcery, not about sorcerers.
Yeah.
So it is its own wise. So
yeah,
picking that up might be a good idea.
Yeah, and sorcerer wise is the most that's you opening the Wikipedia page on what is a sorcerer?
And, that's what I'll do then. Sorcerer wise, I'll start.
Okay, so you start working on that. Okay, cool.
Okay.
So in that case, I'll reference the research obstacles anyway. Research.
I mean, I'm not going to pass this roll, but it's going to be glorious.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean that it doesn't happen.
I have found the history of saucepan making in this world. Sorcerers is a section or so down.
I'll say interesting facts. Like this isn't magic isn't forbidden and has never been forbidden.
No.
So
Maybe it
it's not-
should, and I'm coming. That's coming from a summoner.
we'll see. We'll establish the Inquisition later.
I can't make John laugh. He's not very well. I'm
So,
bringing back.
obstacle 2.
Oh gosh, is this research?
There's no. What are you doing? You pick if you want
Well,
to start working on
I'd
that.
be researching to try and establish the whys. Is that how I'd?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's your like the like procedure here is you establish your intent. You want to find out what sort of
Mhm.
groups of sorcerers exists.
Yeah. Oh, so
in-
this would be a being learned thing, won't it?
Yes, because you don't have the wise.
Yeah.
So
okay.
what wise are you using to
Sorcerer wise.
sorcerer wise? Okay.
Sorcerer wise. Yeah. And that will be perception. No,
Yeah, it's fully perception.
it's fully perception. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So just put it down in your being learned thing.
Yep, I've done that.
Yep.
I've done that. Do
And
I
then-
get to fork in my
No,
research?
no, you don't have the skill, so you can't fork anything. So it's
Man.
straight up from the die button there
Okay,
on the row.
yeah, okay, and it's difficulty 1. You said
2.
2. Okay. Well, I can. There's a chance I can
You
make
have
it.
more dice than that, so there's
Yeah.
a chance.
No.
2
but-
6s though. 2
Oh yes.
6s.
Oh, I'm all about this today. I'm spending that like water.
Mhm.
6. I get to roll both of them, don't I?
There we go. You don't even need to, but you can if you want to.
I mean, yeah, I'm gonna.
But but you got it.
If I'm gonna start getting 6, no, okay, there we
Yeah.
go.
So, okay, to summarize, there's okay. So you're specifically looking for sorcerers. There's currently there are Riathilan noble sorcerers in exile here. They've settled. Some of them are in the city, but there's also a stretch of land in this sort of, what would you call this, duchy. This area has this part of the world has a grasslands area that has a lot of Riathilan exiles settling in there. There are ancient magical structures in the area, sort of ruins from far distant ages that are magically relevant or resonant somehow. And a lot of the Riathilan nobles who are magicians as well elected to settle there rather than in the city because of the interest in these structures. So that's the sort of modern thing. There are sorcerers in the city. A lot of them are sort of working magicians, like alchemists and enchanters that do
Right.
sort of utility stuff, not necessarily, casting tidal waves or anything, but doing useful things, especially now that the city has been sieged terribly by the Crusade a couple of years ago. There's a lot of need for just things that do stuff in the city rather than lightning bolts and storms. Okay, so that's in the recent past. There's not as strong a tradition of sorcerers in Dorothea as there is in Riathil, because Riathil has the premier sort of tradition for it. They have the Tower of Wisdom in Riathil, which is the ancient school of magic.
It's pretty dope.
And
It's pretty
Dorothea doesn't have one of its own. It does have sorcerers, but they are less in number in general. So you would have one in the court, obviously, and maybe the lesser rulers would have their own as well.
It's not as structured or organized as
No,
the tower.
no, there's no tower here to speak of. To sort of like, there's no head wizard in Dorothea, unless you have unless you want to talk about the king's court.
This is Cameron's thinking that we're gonna need some more magical abilities in the Dark Watches sooner or later.
Yeah.
If we can,
But
if we
there
can
are
scoop up.
and this is you concluding this now, like, oh, we don't really have a lot of modern stuff going necessarily because there's no school, they don't have strong traditions otherwise. So there are some mystics, obviously, especially in the Holy City, that are rather more difficult to define. They don't come from a strong tradition such as yourself from the Tower of Wisdom. They might be something other than sorcerers entirely, hard to tell, because this is indeed the holy city of the Temple of Light, and that draws a lot of folks, let's say, with
of different
the second sight and various other kinds of different ways to go about existing in the world. So it draws a lot of
thinking to get Wyatt possibly can help me tap up a few of the noble magicians, and maybe Ishmael possibly.
Another option you pick out is another segment of the land hereabouts around Kaer Amros. There is a great big swamp, and this is unlike the one that you ran into you didn't because you weren't there at that time, but so we ran into a swamp in the north in the early campaign as well. That was kind of happenstance / artificial. Like, it wasn't originally there. Like, it wasn't
meant to be there.
Yeah, it was kind of an accident, but this is like a for real swamp, like an actual swamp. And I use the swamp very specifically because there's different terms for this kind of stuff. There's fens, there's marshes, there's bogs. This is a swamp, meaning it has trees in it. It has a kind of a canopy. So great big swamp, large area. It has a sizable population from what you get from your sources here. And it is regarded by Dorasians as a dangerous place, maybe also as a place where the people who live there don't necessarily regard themselves as Dorasians per se. There's a sort of distinct group of people living there, and
culturally different. Interesting.
Yes, and it is sort of their ancestral land, in essence. And you come away with the sorry.
I was going to say, potentially there's some off-brand magical practitioners there, not what we'd call a academic teaching.
You come away with that impression, like they probably have some stuff going there that, for one thing, hasn't really been written down anywhere outside. Maybe they did it, but you don't have it here. But they sure have some stuff going there. You come away with the impression as well that there's something in the water in the swamp there that is regarded as holy, both as some sources in Kaer Amros itself. Like, you can probably find some of the sort of people in the know from the swamp here in Kaer Amros as well, if you really went looking.
I'll make a mental note to do that. That's something I'd be interested in.
There's something in the water that is regarded as holy and most potent. And it's also one of the reasons why Dorasians regard it as a place maybe don't just wander in there, because the locals are very precious about the water. Like, don't there could touch their fucking water.
Could be some alchemical properties that could be very useful there.
Yeah, but that's what you come away with, like scraping of, on the surface of sorceress stuff.
Because Cameron keeps thinking back to when him and Galavia were up in the north, and we got to walk around the Covenant of the First Flames camp. We got a good look at their forces. Like, they were well equipped, well resourced, great magical accompaniment as well. And obviously some of them I taught myself from a time long ago. So if we're going to be facing down them, we need some talented practitioners, not just men of sword and spear. We need some magic juice at some point. Can't just be me and Watt all the time. I could teach some of them, but I really have other duties at this time.
You also make a note of a third patch of land.
Oh boy!
It's a lot of sort of geography related, because they don't have a lot of big schools or
What's
personalities.
behind door number 3?
Yeah, door number 3 is there's a patch of probably ancient mountains because they are weathered from the description. Like it's worn down mountains, so probably old. And it is regarded as a cursed place, like some terrible, maybe magical malady
Can I stop you
resides
there?
there.
I'm in. I'm already in.
But it's important to note that while we were in the mountains in the east, where we have our 2 dwarven strongholds, big fuck off mountains. These ones, not so much. These are like ground down by time and whatever else over time. So like very big, like fells, you would call them, I guess, like very big, tall hills, essentially.
But still,
but
cursed.
like noticeable. Like it's not just the hills of the Shire. No, it's like take a mountain and then erode it for millions of years.
So, potentially in the future, then Cameron will either go to these places himself, just seek their help, or he will send an envoy, possibly a side story opening up there.
Yeah.
To try and gain
Send
some
a
support.
bird.
Oh, the swamp deserves better. I'll send a tiger.
It's like, hey guys, want to help? Here's a tiger.
Tiger.
Yeah, but that's what you come away with.
Right.
If you want to, you now have justification as well, I will say, to just roll up sorcerers with your circles
Okay.
a lot. And you
good to
get
know.
like an additional die on top as well, because you have some idea of who could be useful to you. Like you have some names that I'm not going to generate off the bat now, but we'll do that when you roll.
Put that as like a handout. Yes, so like even though my sorcerer's wise is still in progress, I now have that unlocked.
Yeah, you know about this stuff now because you got your roll. You don't have the skill yet, but
I'm going to collab with my colleague, my fellow sorcerer, to weed out a couple of the ones that probably won't be as helpful, and we'll narrow down a couple that we could look into together.
But yeah, you pore over these maps and tomes in the darkness of the underground tower. Now, Wyatt, what's going on?
You're off the bench, boy.
Oh no, sorry. I was listening, but I was also spending it making sure that I knew what the hell I wanted to set up. So I am going to go to my emporium.
Yes.
To start the day. Open up shop. Take a quick look at the books, just make sure everything is settled. After maybe 10-20 minutes of me kind of pouring over some stuff, I kind of looking in my black book, I sort of look around, and then I'm going to say, boy, where are you, boy? And the little patter of feet are gonna appear from up the stairs. I have a basement, obviously, area where I have everything, and so this is my shall we say my assistant / apprentice, basically. He's an orphan child from during the siege that I sort of came into my orbit. He was working as sort of a runner, kind of moving things back and forth, messages and things like that. So go on, John.
I imagine him coming in and being like, "Dust your tomes, sir."
yeah, he's counting cartons and everything like that down in the basement for sure. Got to put him to work. But he has sort of sandy colored hair, olive skin. He's maybe tweenish aged, so he's maybe 10 or 12, and he has these very bright yellow eyes. So he's so I noticed him right away because obviously I could sense potential inside of him, so I took him under my wing. But at the moment he's learning the old-fashioned way, by counting cartons and dusting the tomes, as John suggested. So but I have a specific purpose I'm summoning him for. I'm putting him to his old job. I will say,
to interrupt you here, is this a relationship you bought at the start?
No, and that was going to be my next point of call. So I need to do two things here, I think, and it's actually they're interrelated. because I need to make a circles roll for my friend. By the way, you're gonna love. Hopefully, you're gonna like his name. Little boy Love Rich over here. So Love Rich is gonna need a circles roll, and then I need a circles roll because what I want to do is twofold. I want Love Rich to send out my messages to some people in the city. So that's the Riethalian nobility that I'm keen to introduce Kameron to.
Yeah.
So I will make some circles rolls if you don't mind.
Wonderful. Okay, so let's start
First off, let's start with Love Rich.
Yeah, let's start with boy.
Can I just check, John, for my notes? Is that Love Ridge or Love Rich?
Love Rich, as in the name Rich. Yeah.
He's rich in love.
He's rich in the love Rich.
Yeah.
No, I used a generator for that, and I saw that. I'm like, that's my friend. Right there.
That's a wonderful name.
That's the boy. That's boy right there. So let me just grab up my circles rolls. Now my circles is 2. What difficulty for creating Love Rich?
So
very basic. Basically, he's got like maybe 1 life path. You know, I was looking. You got to me just as I was trying to figure out what that would be to make it best. But he's basically low level. You know, he's a boy. You know.
Yeah. So and this is wonderful. This is wonderful. And let's not be discouraged by this. You have fuck all to do with Love Rich as far as your life paths go, from what I can tell. Like if he's a boy from the city.
That's it, right?
Yeah.
Actually, I've just started. Like I know this is from like the last couple of years, so it's like we're just beginning to like build them up. Yeah. It's like so allotted some time. It'll be like, oh, I'll build Love Rich up in that time, but like, you know, in the meantime, he's got, you know, he's dusting cartons.
Yeah. So, let me find this. So, I think it's going to be obstacle 2, but I'm going to check it. So what's going on here is you have nothing in common with Love Rich. With when it comes to your life paths, so because he's not yet inducted to our way yet. And basically, like Love Rich has one. He's working on his second life path, but he has one which is
I'm thinking
city born.
Probably would be the most appropriate, right? Yeah.
He's born in the city.
About the right age too, as well. So yeah.
But he's working on his second life path, which is the Wizard's Apprentice. So,
is that the one, or is it Neophyte Sorcerer?
There's both. There's both. Whichever way you want to go. Yeah.
Okay.
I guess it could be the Neophyte Sorcerer because the
city. It's all in the city.
Yeah. The Wizard's Apprentice kind of implicated that the apprentice works as a pig keeper. Like, instead of dusting tomes, like you tend to the pigs.
Right.
While I do the magic.
Right? Yeah. Get up, pig. The pig's asleep.
Okay.
So it's a difficulty 2, you said, right?
Yeah, let's just go with that.
Now remind me, with the circles roll, I'll establish him regardless. However,
so the thing is,
consequence
if you succeed, there's no additional complications. If you don't succeed, he still exists and comes with extra complications or actively hates you or something like that.
Okay, we can work that. Let's do the roll. We'll see. I'm gonna do this raw, I think, because I don't have the points. Oh shit, there it is. Affiliations. Can I loop in my human nobility perhaps on this one to be like?
He's not a noble.
Oh, okay, so it only would apply in that realm.
Yeah, in that case, in that specific thing.
Works. That'll be on my next roll then. That's fine. Perfect. That's cool. I just wanted to ask. Nothing on reputations then. Nothing advantages wise.
Yeah, we're rolling au naturel.
Au naturel. Okay, let's do it.
There we go.
Ooh.
No problem, sir.
Yeah, no problem. Sir.
Tome's all dusted, sir.
Do you have any other jobs for me, sir?
Yeah, I do, boy. Right. So, boy, I need you to send out some messages. I need you to get in contact with some friends of mine. It's the old job, I know, but don't worry. No one's going to be trying to, cut your head off this time.
He goes and fetches some paper and ink for you to write because he can't write that good. So he's
No,
expecting
I'll be
you
doing
to
the
do
writing.
that.
Thank you very much, Love Rich.
Yeah, so he gets the stuff for you.
Work on your letters today, Love Rich.
All right, sir.
Now, as he's getting all the supplies, I'm looking at my book and I'm trying to recall some names because it's been a hot minute in terms of medieval time since I went to any of the parties or attended any of the secret rebel meetings. I've been busy doing other things. So I'm going to roll circles roll. I want to generate a Rialian noble.
Yep.
And this will basically be the main contact, probably the leader or the de facto leader of them.
I've got a dude for you. This guy's established in the
is he?
already. Yeah.
Is he really? Okay.
We haven't talked about him at all because we haven't needed to. But
oh, sweet. So this is the guy that I'm creating then, or I'm creating my own with?
Whatever you want to do. Like I've got number one dude.
So you got the guy. So then, do I need a circles roll or like a contacts roll?
Yeah. Circles roll. Yeah.
Okay, perfect. I'll do it. Yeah. So let's see. I did that. We're working these circles angles, John. It's like exactly like we said we're gonna do. Right. Now I can bring in my 1D nobility on this.
Absolutely.
One. Right.
But he's not a Dark Watcher, so
no, obviously, or else I'd double up. But I'm gonna roll. Let's see what happens.
So
obstacle. I'm sorry, I didn't ask.
Yeah, you have a similar life path to him. So we start at well, we always start at 1, but there's no additional stuff from that.
Yep.
I
have cause to know him, obviously.
He is he's higher rank than you are in the setting, I think. Because he is as established. I had the exact same thing in mind that you did.
Oh yeah.
Basically the head figure of these guys now who are exiles here.
Yes.
Yeah, so he's
that's what I want to. That's what I want. I want to go right to the guy.
Yeah. So he's basically like this guy is more or less the dude who has the strongest claim to be king in.
So he's like a level of like a prince then, basically. Like, he's like 2 or 3.
Yeah, he's not. He's maybe not Prince of the Blood, but he's the one that they've got left. So he's at
least like a duke or.
This is the Minister of Education in Battlestar.
Oh, in Battlestar, right?
Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah. So
fair.
This guy's their leader and has the strongest claim for whenever they go back to reclaim Riathil. He's gonna try and shoot for the.
I mean, I'm already helping out the real king get the whole thing together. So he can have Riathil as like whatever. It's fine. I'm not worried.
Yeah, you can be a fucking duke.
Yeah, you can be the Duke Lord of the city. I don't. It's not chatting my ass.
Yep.
All right, cool. So what's that?
So we're gonna look at 3.
Ooh,
for this guy.
Spicy.
Because you match up quite well, but he is higher ranked than you.
So remind me, either he'll hate me or there'll be a complication in getting in touch with him. Or...
Yeah, either there's complications. Maybe if you botch this, one of the examples is like, oh, you owe him a lot of money. Or like something to that effect.
I like this. All right, let it ride. I'm gonna let it ride. Let's see what happens.
Or it could be like, like you killed his favorite hamster or whatever.
Fucking shit show.
okay, so that's a failure then.
Yeah, but I mean, I'll take it because
but we'll figure that out when we get to it. But this guy's called Caradas. I'll put that in the chat.
Yeah, please do, because I have no idea what you just said.
Yeah.
Hey, I need like one more circles roll.
Mm-hmm.
I'm doing well.
So Caradas is a
it's in the other chat. Sorry.
A Riathilan noble, not a sorcerer, but a noble who has aspirations of taking back Riathil and reestablishing the throne as was, and has the backing of a lot of the exiles from Riathil. But yeah, you send the message, no problem there. We'll figure out the failure there. I'll make a note of that.
Yeah, please do.
And we'll figure that out when it comes time to either meet or get a reply from Caradas. Okay, cool. So you've got the letter sent.
So I've sent boy out to do that for me.
Yep.
Sorry, I'm just typing. I'm just making a note. Sorry.
Yep.
So after that's done, what I would like to do is I need to generate a little cash because I need to go down to, I need to determine what would be the best CD bar to go to play a little cards and to talk to some folks. I need to get some, I need to get word to Cinerid. So I'd like to do that circumspectly because, you know, we're all, you know, trying to keep this on the DL. So before I go down to the said CD establishment, I need to produce some coin. So as far as I'm aware, that means I need to make a obstacle 2 resources roll to see if I can generate cash.
Yeah, if you wanted to make, I think if you wanted to
gives me like a
create
bonus.
one cash die,
It's 2D. It's a 2 obstacle. Yeah.
let's see.
It's
Bring
basically 2 for every like die you want to add of cash. Essentially, it gets really freaky with resources.
Yeah, and this is it's wonderful. I've created a character myself where I got a lot of resource points. I spent them all in such a way that I had a fairly good resource score, which, as kind of in real life, like you get money, you can make more money. And
yes, that's the idea here.
I was Mr. Moneybags that time.
Oh, were you? Okay, well, see, that's kind of the
because
niche I think I'm starting to sort of slot towards here.
You can kind of be like, hey, friend, and the other player's character is not as rich as you are, and you can be like, well, I can, with very minimal risk, I can try and give you some money. So, blah, and here it is. But okay, here we go. Let's see. We can. Where are we? Cash on hand. Okay, so obstacle 2 test generates 1 die of cash. Cool. There we go.
I was spending some time reading up on it while while we were. So let me just go ahead and mark this, hit this. Obviously not doing that, but I will, because I want this to sort of succeed. I do put some on point of Aratha in it. Base 2 obstacle. Let's go. Oh, I'm so glad I did that.
Oh, that is good. Also, mark down the difficult thing.
I did.
Extremely important with circles, because circles only count successes.
And resources as well.
Yeah.
Resources. Yeah.
Yeah.
I know. That's why I really wanted to succeed on that one there.
Yeah.
And I put a percent.
So yeah, resources is what I meant. Whatever I said.
I know. I got you.
The wrong thing. Yeah. So So you scrounge up a pouch of silver and you head off to.
Well, first, what I'm going to do is I realized that if I want to find a nice shady gambling den, you know, Ishmael's probably my boy. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to swing by Father Ambrosio's. For one thing, I want to put some alms in, you know, just as a token. And then as I put in my alms, I'll do the supplication to the Lord of Light when I enter, because it's a holy sanctuary, is it not, as well?
Yeah,
like
it's a monastery. Yeah,
monastery, right?
They've got the trappings. Yeah.
So I will do the rituals required of my nominal deity, and I'm looking for Ishmael. So I'm sure he's not too hard to spot.
You probably hear me like.
It's like, that way.
There you are. Oh,
are
you
Wyatt? I'm like bandaging someone up. So I wasn't expecting to see you until later.
Yes. I have a little. I have a little job, and I think you could help me with.
Of course. So what is it you need?
I'm gonna lean in, so I'm gonna be like, I need a gambling den. I want to get word to Cinerad. I want to do it sly-like. So it's been a long time since I played cards. It was during the siege, actually.
I see.
So-
Well, that there are a number of, shall we say, less than reputable places littering the back alleys, and you're right. I have spent a lot of my time frequenting those areas, whilst in the
Specifically,
cities.
one patronized and or even owned by the Pins and Needles. That'd be the simplest way to get word out to Cinerad, I think.
Well, yes, I can see if I. Let me think, see if I know any such places. And I'm basically looking to use.
Please, and let me know if I can help.
Of course, I'm basically looking to use my back alley wise.
And I have an underworld wise if I can help them out.
Yeah. The both of you can definitely, like, those are applicable. So Ishmael is rolling, I guess, and Wyatt is giving assistance. So
Correct.
yeah, Ishmael, you can roll your back alley was with an extra die.
Okay.
For so we're going to establish an illegal
Yeah.
seedy.
Pins and Needles gambling den.
Yeah,
I guess
yeah.
to roll for.
Yeah.
We're filling this city out.
What's the obstacle?
Back alley was 1.
And also, what's the consequence if I fail the roll?
The consequence is that there's going to be some stuff going down at said joint, but you will find it anyway, because that's not the question. The question is what's going on, and when you get
Right. Ooh.
there,
Smash
you
that.
go.
That's right. I'm
Yeah.
the sire of the criminal underworld.
Yeah,
Dump some fate to that, boy.
yeah.
I'm
No,
good. We've already got 3 successes over what we need. I'm fine.
No, yeah. You know just the place. You know just the place. It's a fairly down low place. It's mostly frequented by people who just want like a quiet place away from everything.
I like to imagine, because we're like sort of like rocking the sort of Silk Road vibe. I like to imagine it's like one of the those like hooker places where they're like
Yeah, it's a
smoking,
hookah.
like,
Yeah, there's smoke in the air.
I imagine it's like one of them, and then there's like the back rooms where they do like the sort of less
all
than
the
reputable
cards,
gambling, and
gambling.
you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
sort of speakeasy sort of vibe, you know?
I'm thinking that like that place in Indiana Jones.
Yes, man. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So it's not going to be a glamorous place at all, but there is the front room, and then you need to talk to the big guy at the door to get into the back room.
All right.
So I'll tell Wyatt about it. I do know a place. I've not been in there myself for obvious reasons, but I do know some people who've frequented the place and have come into misfortune from being there, and I know a couple of the beggars who linger on the streets around there. I'd say, as I say, it's a less than reputable place, and I would certainly advise you to keep your wits about you when you go in there. Let's just say they know the right people's hands to slip a few coins into, to make sure they're not overly bothered by the law, shall we say.
I'll clap my hand on his back. You really need a salve, a balm. I could probably work on a potion.
It's all right. I have an idea of how I'm going to work on this.
Oh, that's excellent. Well, with you at my side, Ishmael, I am sure we will come to no harm in your establishment.
I'm perfectly willing to go with you. However, I'm not sure they'll look kindly on one like myself, and I sort of look down all the lepers robes I'm wearing. They won't look kindly on one of my kind going in.
Money talks. It'll be fine. Fine.
Well, I'm certainly willing to go with you.
I appreciate.
I'll help in any way I can.
Yes, we need to we need to look into this glad hand. We have to make sure that these bandits are taken care of. I think you'd agree.
Yes, of course.
Oh, yes. Banditry is distasteful. Now, shall we go? Away, away, away.
Yes.
I turn and I'm gonna try not to strut, but I sometimes can't help myself as I move from place to place. But I will of course be outside, because then I will realize Ishmael knows the way, not I. So I will let him take the lead this time.
Yeah, and I'll lead us through the sort of seedy back alleys. The sort of as the sort of travelling montage continues. The streets get a little bit less clean. The buildings get a little bit more run down as we sort of like head into sort of further away from like the main thoroughfare through Care Amaros. Like you start seeing more and more like beggars popping up on the city streets because they're not shooed away by like the city guard and stuff like that. And there's generally sort of like more unsavory characters lurking around. And I eventually I probably stop and like speak to a few of the beggars, maybe give them like the odd coin or two, and pretty like have like a bit of hush conversation with them, just to like check that we're heading in the right direction. And eventually we end up outside a fairly nondescript building. The doors open. It's got one of those like insect sort of like bead curtain things hanging down. Probably smell like the fragrant smoke wafting out. There's probably like a burly looking fellow on the door who's it's his job to make sure that like people who don't belong there don't go in, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
And I sort of stop at the head of the street and I'm like, that's the place there. Wait.
Well, and I've found a name for it as well. It is called the Poor Knight.
Ah,
yeah.
Nice. Well, Ishmael, follow. and I'm gonna make a line for the door, and I will stop. There is a bouncer at the door, correct?
Yeah.
Well, when I approach, I'm going to reach into my coat for two things. I'm going to reach into my coat for a pack of cards and a coin. And I'll be like, we playing today? And I'm going to indicate inside. Now, I look middle class-ish. I'm not in any finery, but for this area, I probably look like I have money.
Yeah, and you are all burdened by the fact that you are all born noble.
Exactly. So they kind of can't, the bearing, the strong jaws, the nice teeth,
Everyone comes away with that little bit of, you're not from around here, are you?
You're from around here, are you, son? Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. No, you're the bouncer holds out a hand and is like, sure, you'll have to ask about the cards inside though.
Much obliged. I will enter.
Yes, thank you.
Let's get some grog down that throat. Right, come now.
As I sort of shuffle past him.
It's like, oh, he's had a few, says the bouncer at the door.
Yeah, I know. That's why we're coming into this place. Got thrown out the last one. This one can't hold his liquor.
Don't start anything now.
Not at all. Just here to play some cards and have a quiet drink, my friend.
That's how we like it.
It's the best kind of day.
And you enter. There's a sort of very small alcove kitchen. Someone's currently roasting something. Smells quite good. There's a mixture of like roasting some kind of nut smell and also like the smell of roasting meat.
And almonds, I think.
And you can see as Ishmael was sort of giving you the brief, there is the back room, and there is a rather more sort of nicely dressed individual standing there. Not, ostentatious, but very clearly, dressing to impress. Lounging by the door that Ishmael knows that you need to enter through to get to the cards.
So I'm going to lay out my intention because it's twofold here, and you tell me what we need. I'm going to approach the well-dressed doorkeep in the back area.
Yeah, just gets up and sort of like brushes off.
And I'll produce 2 coins this time. And I'll be like, and I want to, at first, I'm just going to say, looking for a quiet game. You taking new players today?
Well, you're early, so yes.
Fantastic.
Do you have the steak?
And what is your stakes for this room? Apologies. I've just come from up the street, and this is a new establishment to me.
Well, again, you're early, so do you have coin? He says with a smile.
Right here, my friend, right here.
I presume that's for me. And reaches out a hand.
Indeed.
Do you have anything left for when you go?
I pay my debts, sir.
That's not what I asked, though. Do you have the metal?
I mean, do men normally show their coin pouches in public?
You don't need to. You just tell me.
Ah, I see. Yes, of course. Silvers.
Yeah.
Silvers galore for the lucky winners.
Wonderful,
Hopefully
wonderful.
myself.
Thing is, like, we get a lot of different types. A lot of them don't have the metal. And
I apologize.
it's just easier for me to ask you before you go in, before I have to come and take you out.
Of course, I understand.
Okay, please be my guest.
And as I begin to walk in, I'm just going to lean in to him. Oh, one more thing. I'm looking for a friend of mine. I wonder if she's been around today.
What's your friend's name?
A Cinerad.
What you want with Cinerad?
Oh, we go way back, and I simply wanted to have a quiet word with her, maybe buy her a drink. It's been some time since we've spoken. Perhaps if you were interested in some more pieces of that metal, you could
Just
let her know that
holds up
I'm
a hand again.
I'll put some more coins in his hand.
Just nods and says, "Let's see what I can do."
Thank you. Ishmael, if you'd like to join me, if not, have a drink. Start a tab.
Very well. I'm not a great one for gambling. I'll just basically, I'll order some sort of fairly weak drink, and I'll just be like, he's paying for it.
That's true. So yeah, I'll sit at the whatever table it's got a game.
So there's cards in the back, and dice as well.
I want to play cards, if you don't mind, sir.
Yep.
And I don't actually have this skill, so there's a reason why I'm here for this.
Yeah. we're gonna learn.
We're gonna learn today. Or remind myself, it's been ages since I played cards.
Look on the bright side. If you get into any danger, I'll be like.
That's right. That's why I brought you here, bro.
Yeah, because you can chop up these card sharps.
That's right.
On the quick.
So while we're waiting for Cinerad to perhaps arrive,
Yeah.
I'd like to engage in a couple rounds of cards.
So
and it will be for the for cash, because I have the 1D, so that'll be the basically the stake, essentially.
Let's find gambling.
Yeah. It's
here we go.
Yep.
So
this is a cool one too.
So you're putting up the silver for a wager, and then we roll versus.
Yep.
Cool. So that's exactly what we do. All right. Okay.
I guess it depends on how good these guys are at gambling.
Yeah. Let me find my sheet here. Yeah, you can roll your oh, what the fuck
Raw
is
dog,
based on?
it's
It's probably
perception.
perception.
Yep. It's perception and will, yeah.
Yeah, okay. So
it's already put in.
You roll your thing, obstacle 1, because we're doing versus. So.
Right. Bear with me 1 second. I think it's only it's only strategy games. That's what I thought. I have the proper tools. I have traveling gear. So there's no Malison. So as I'm like sat at this table trying to get a read on these guys as we're playing cards, just for the sake of me deciding whether I want to spend my last persona point or not on this, how good do I think these guys are compared to myself? Because I know
they look like they're here for the experience, not the money.
So
that's your takeaway. This isn't the A leagues at all.
Got it. So these are people like me, basically.
Yeah, these are people who are looking to have a good time.
Just want to, exactly. Okay, so it's friendly game as much as you're going to get in a place like this. All right.
Yeah. So also, I'm basing this off of your phenomenal success.
Right.
If you want the high stakes, it's going to be in a place that is quite dangerous indeed.
No. I'm good
yeah.
I'm good for now.
Yeah.
We'll build up to that.
Mhm.
Let's get the skill in my sheet first, maybe.
Yeah. But this
All
is
right,
your
cool.
like
This is the warm up.
down home,
Please.
nice card game.
Yeah.
No one's betting their car keys on this.
Right.
Like, there's no.
What do you
Okay.
give an obstacle to?
Doesn't matter.
Okay,
You still got 7 and 3 successes. So here goes. Put that there.
No sixes, though.
Yeah, cool. So you win.
Ooh.
So
Does that mean I get a cash die out of that now?
Yeah. So because
Ooh.
everyone was kind of, and we're not going to go into like the
No.
specifics of breaking down
course.
bets or anything. It will just you get back what you bet. So
We just say it's a good hand.
Yep. So you got an extra
And
cash from that.
die,
And so time goes by.
Do we have a name for the local currency, or just like silver marks? Would be,
We don't, and I'm
I'll say silver marks then for the sake of it. And then,
I'll come up with that. I've been
Sure.
pondering a couple of options here.
Doneros.
I'm kind of partial to ducats.
Oh, okay, I'll put ducats then. I love that.
I enjoy ducats.
Love
a
that
lot,
word.
so,
That's a great word. Yeah.
yeah.
Cool. So silver ducats. There we go.
Yeah,
And
Dorsian ducats.
and I get 1 aptitude towards my gambling.
Yeah, gambling.
Fantastic. Yeah, so I'm just playing the game. I have to remember where I am and not get too excited when I actually win the hand.
Mhm.
But at that, when I win, I'll be like, gentlemen, it's been lovely. I'm going to go have a drink with my friend now and celebrate. Enjoy the rest of your day. And I will go common room at that point and wait for Cinerad, hopefully.
Whilst this has been going on, I've been basically sat on whatever passes for a bar stool here, sort of like slowly nursing my one drink, sort of keeping an eye on the table where Wyatt's playing his game in case any trouble does break out. So like with my hands sort of like resting near to my sword but not on it, just in case. And then like as he's sort of like, oh yeah, thanks very much for the game, I'm just gonna go and have a drink, etc. I'll probably slightly sort of like move my hand away from it, like relaxing a little bit, but still ready just in case things can just turn like that in a place like this.
Yeah.
I'm gonna sit at the table with Ishmael. Gonna try to get another round, just to do one of these moves. Oh, I have to say that I did not think that was going to go that well. I have not played cards since, oh god, I think it was day 140 in the siege.
You certainly seem to have a gift for it.
The soldiers I took all the money from when I played it the first time said the same thing. Maybe they're just particularly poor at it. I can't say, but
I find the only way to make sure you don't lose money to such things is not to play in the first place.
fair. But men such as ourselves can spare these such indulgences occasionally. Yes?
Alas, not so much myself anymore.
Well. Anyway.
So time goes by, and Cinerad does manifest eventually. And
I'm probably like 2 or 3 in at this point.
Mhm.
I've had to upgrade because the beer was piss water, so I think I'm on a spirit now at this point.
mhm.
Uh,
Yeah, you're having some of one of the local drinks probably has a lot of aniseed in it, and it's a fairly fragrant drink.
sort of like a gin almost.
I was thinking ouzo.
I'm not familiar.
No, we will investigate that after the game.
After the game.
Yeah. So it's it's fantasy ouzo. So it's a drink that you're shown how to have it. Like the locals put a little bit of they put a little bit of something else in it, probably water to start off with, and it goes cloudy. Like it's a clear liquid, it goes cloudy immediately.
Let's just say, White, if it's modelled on ouzo, it's a very strong drink that you don't necessarily drink for the taste, if you know what I mean.
Sorcery. And I'm just gonna Carefully
It-
sip at it.
Yeah, it goes almost like milky when they put the water in. It's like
Whoa.
that's chemistry. Like you know this stuff. Yeah.
I
No,
did
it's
not know that we were at the barber today.
it's
Oh.
it's a strong drink. Kind of hits you with the flavor and also the alcohol. It's not the highest grade, but it's like you can tell like this is good hooch. But you know, maybe maybe it's a little bit early in the day.
You should be careful with that, Wyatt. During the siege, some of the men under my command looted something very similar to that, and well, let's just say the effects on them were somewhat striking. I would take it easy with that if I was you, if you've not tried it before.
A pitcher of water and a pitcher of whatever that was. I've lived in this city. Like I've lived in this city nearly 10 fingers. I've lived in Kameron, and I don't drink often. You know, it's a weakness in men.
I wouldn't
At
have
least
guessed.
that's how my father taught me. Do you know your father very well, Ishmael?
Not really.
No, mine was a bastard. Not in the,
I laugh at that.
not in like the, he was ill-begotten progeny, but as in he was a demon sent to flay his children and everyone else in our estate. I guess that's where my brother gets it from. But anyway, where's the hooch? Hooch.
I must say my own youth was preoccupied with matters of duty and weighty matters of discipline.
Yeah, so was mine. And discipline handed out with the lash.
I hesitate to even call it a childhood, really.
We are alike in that. Very much alike in that. Whoa! Hey! Cinerad, is that you? Did you suddenly become an elfin ethereal being since last we met?
Did you start early today, perhaps?
I wanted cards, and
she leans over and like gives a to the to the
Oh
glass.
yeah,
and-
I'm definitely a bit gone. We're on the way.
Yeah.
I wanted cards, and I haven't wanted cards since the siege, as I was talking to Ishmael about, and then I was talking about my father, and then I decided I needed more hooch. Hooch, please. Please join us, Sinrad. Please.
So Sinrad goes and gets a bottle and joins you again and sits down and says, "So you had something for me?"
I did. Well, more like we needed to discuss relationships. There's an org chart, perhaps, somewhere in your organization that would tell you this, but I thought we came into some circumstances, and let me not blather. I apologize. This is strong stuff.
Yeah, you usually eat when you drink it. Did they not tell you?
No, they skipped that part. I'm thinking they wanted their money back, perhaps. Maybe.
I'm gonna have a look through my herb pouch and see if I've basically got like any herbs where I can basically just be like, chew this, and it might sort of
smelling salt.
Yeah, almost like smelling salt, but like some herbs you chew that might just like pep him up a bit and like focus him just for a little bit.
Yeah, maybe like you would have something that is basically a stimulant. Like you chew on it long enough, it releases.
Smell to it. This is more sorcery.
Yes, chew on these leaves. It's
Oh.
monk's bell. It will help you focus for at least for a short time.
So,
I
what?
apologize. Whoa. Okay.
You know, I could almost believe that you weren't in possession of what you are, given your light-hearted nature.
Don't let
He
that
says
fool
with a
you.
smile.
Don't let that fool you. Heart is black as coal on the inside. I swear.
Sure, all of us.
It's better to act the buffoon and shield your resources and your intelligence from others than the opposite.
Don't give away the game, Ishmael. He is
My
way too
apologies.
forward. Not?
Again, drink aside. How can I help you?
The Glad Hand.
Yes?
What do you know of him? Is he a part of your organization?
No.
So if he were to, I don't know, drown in a bathtub serendipitously, for example, then no one would care.
There's going to be a lot of people who care.
Well, no one we care about.
So you've put your daggers away for a minute, she
They
says,
are.
and
They
pours a round of Uza for everyone.
I'm just attempting to ascertain the field here.
Okay, long and short of it, which I'm not surprised you're given that you're, bringing stuff in on the sly and taking stuff out on the sly from Riathil, right? So Glad Hand is involved in the legitimate side of all of that. Big trade.
I'm shocked that I had never encountered him, but perhaps maybe I've only encountered his agents.
He's got his own people,
Yes.
separate from ours. Anyway, he's following the siege. Things got much more complicated. He was a big shot, big money before, even bigger shot with even bigger money now, and more importantly, very big friends after the siege. And his baseline is in mercantile. If you'd call him a trade prince, I guess.
Indeed. That much we knew.
He's got title, but more importantly, he's got a lot of wealth.
Yeah, the coin.
And he's got a lot of other big trade lords with him.
You would call him like a ball then, almost.
Yes. A lot of people with pull in different guilds. A lot of very big trade magnates. And they're all, there's no official title for it, but Glad Hand is the head of this group of friends that look out for each other. I guess you would call it a cabal. Maybe you would call it a guild of guilds. And the Glad Hand is on top. That's not enough, though. That's not enough. This is where it gets busy. It's not enough that he's ended up on the top of the trade heap with an obscene amount of money. In the siege, he and his friends, they grew dissatisfied with the, shall we say, traditional rule of, and don't go spouting this out on the street corner, but traditional rule of both Kaer Amoros and, I think, Dorothea in general. I don't think they care much for titles anymore. They think with their money, their friends, their connections, their resources, they've got enough to say that we are now the new lords without the previous titles, whatever. And having realized this, they went and bought and brought in a lot of things. They financed the victory, more or less. You probably weren't in a place to observe all
I was
that.
a bit busy at the time.
In the background, they more or less financed the fact that we could push the siege off. And you may be familiar with the House of Prophecy's role in that.
Yes.
Being very prominent. They funded the house, and the house helped us push the siege off. So currently you have this man with a ridiculous amount of wealth, with very wealthy friends who control a lot of trade, who now has the new high priest for, as you well know, and you do, like, she's not, throwing this out there, like, that the previous high priest died in the siege.
Mm-hmm.
He has the new high priest heavily indebted to him, and by extension the entire house of prophecy. So yeah, people are going to care if you start sharpening your knives. It might not be that they care so much for him, but they're going to go look for whoever did the deed, and it's just going to be a different one from his group of friends who's going to take
they all
place.
have to go. I'm seeing the picture.
Yeah, and it's grown to
quite a big job. Yes,
grown to the point now where I don't think it can go away, which is probably the same conclusion that the king back in Dorsia has figured out, and more locally, Lady Morgason has probably figured that out as well. And we're all waiting for who does the first push.
Are you aware? I would be shocked if you were not, but are you aware that they're cutting in on your action as well?
How do you mean?
Banditry, underworld, and dealings, etc.
I would presume they have their own people for that kind of thing as well.
They do, and we have located a nest of them, shall we say.
All right.
My friend Ishmael here was kind enough to convince me not to drown them in their sleep. When we then came upon this information that they were linked to the Glad Hand, hence why we're speaking with you. Complicates things because these bandits are hurting a lot of people in our city.
That's the way of banditry.
Yes. They're not like yourselves, refined criminals who...
I would imagine no, that
their
probably
cut
involves a
and
lot
leave
of trading, raiding, trade.
Yes, presumably
caravans.
he's raiding his competition so that he can cut them out and absorb their businesses. I've seen how this works before.
They're taking food from the mouths of those who can least afford it to be taken.
That's correct. And we have made it a side project, let's say, to put an end to that. But it sounds like there are several directions we need to approach this from, because we can't have the Glad Hand in the way of our future king, can we?
Well, I don't think that there's going to be a future where the Glad Hand cares about a king anymore.
And that is why he needs to go.
And that
don't worry, this will be. This is not something that we're just going to rock up to his villa and start.
Well, I should hope not, because we have a deal as well, and we're looking to cash in. And if you go and knock on his door with your sword in your hand, it's going to go badly for us.
I understand, and hence our consultation with you, our good friend. I would like to make a proposal in this regard.
Yes,
I am going to be in consultation with certain friends of my own in the very near future. I will be introducing Master Redwind to them as well. But it sounds like we need to begin to loosen the Glad Hand's grip a little bit. I'm sure he wouldn't miss a few bandits, but that could perhaps help some of his lesser competitors survive another day. It also sounds like perhaps the High Priest needs new financial benefactor. So,
do you have a cornucopia of silver for this?
Sinrad, it's a project, step by step, my dear, step by step. I'm simply, as our good friend, laying out the avenues that would be acceptable to all parties. Obviously, we've established that going directly for the jugular at this moment in time is suicide for everyone involved. So we will not do that. But we do need to erode his influence. We can't have this man thinking he's the king without a crown, can we?
I think, and this is the little birds telling me, that they are, well, like I said, they're not so much a fan of the kingdom. I suppose they would be looking for new words for that kind of thing, but I think they may be looking to get rid of that whole idea.
The word you're looking for is oligarchy. It's oligarchy.
I didn't go to the same school as you.
Direct rule by the rich. Don't worry about it. We're not going to allow it to happen. We like our aristocracy in the Riverlands, and by God, we will, ensure that these upstart merchants know their place again. Ooh, I'm excited. Are you excited, Red? Are you excited? I feel young.
Let me have another one of these.
Let me join you.
She takes a drink. Says,
whilst they're getting soused, I'm going to be sort of like leaning back a bit, just like keeping an eye on everything that's going on, just in case. Because obviously, I'm assuming they're not bellowing this out across.
No, I'm keeping this as quiet as.
But I mean, just in case anyone's listening in, I'm like keeping an eye out and like watching a six, that sort of thing.
Yeah, I think you see there is from the card room, someone's finished playing, is trying to leave. The guy at the door, because they're trying to come out of the room, the guy at the door tells them to sit down for a while. Basically, the door people are sort of keeping things on lock while Cinerid is here talking to you. So they're sort of locking shit down for now. So no one's coming in or leaving. And Cinerid says, okay, well.
So, Cinerid, would you and your associates be... Obviously, I understand you have to speak with your superiors, but would you be willing to endorse said courses of action? The overall objective being to erode Mr. Gladhand, Master Gladhand, whatever they want to be called, I guess.
Yes.
It's not good for your business, is it? Can't be.
Well, let's put it this way.
Complicated bookkeeping, I understand, but
the Gladhand is a massive competitor. Yeah. Let's put it that way. Well, and of course, it would be wonderful if the Gladhand and all of his friends
drowned in the river.
You said it, not me.
Shame that they couldn't all be arranged on one boat at one time. I could actually probably make that happen. The drowning part.
But you have to understand, this is something that we've been addressing for a while now. And now, after the siege and all the losses that everyone suffered, everyone's depleted now.
I understand.
Save for the Gladhand. And if what you're telling me is true, he's also causing the depletion of everyone else on top of the siege and the aftermath. So
it's good for his business to do so, of course.
This is going to be uphill all the way.
I understand.
And you need to be careful with that.
I have taken my quiet and forthright friend's counsel on this, and I'll also take yours as well, Sinrad. We will operate with the highest degree of discretion. Us Dark Watchers are used to operating in the shadows. So
I hear.
Continue to endeavor to do that.
I am the knight. Wonderful. Well, as
long as we are in agreement.
Yes. Do keep me appraised of your
absolutely
your developments.
My, has the day gone away from us already, Ishmael? I do believe we had another appointment.
Yes, you're right. Although, if I can stray into meta talk for a moment, it might be better for us to leave that until next session.
Indeed.
However, I would like an opportunity to speak with Master Redwin before we attend the meeting. Perhaps we can locate him. I can talk about...
Yeah, I'd imagine we will leave. We will go with
Yes. We can talk about a certain matter with him. We can get ourselves prepared, and then later on we can meet with our friend.
The good captain.
Indeed. Sir Igress.
That is such a Star Warsy sounding name. Like he sounds like he's like a general or something like that.
Yeah, he's got a half cape.
Grand Army, you know.
I come from a noble line with just a little extra juice in it. All right.
Yeah, right.
Well, I mean, I've spent most of the day after my little adventure in the park, in the library of the thing, doing what I do best, hitting the books, research,
doing the big thing. Yeah. So we'll smash cut back to the skull cave, and Ishmael.
As we walk in, I'll be like, "You really should do something about that cough, Wyatt."
I think it was that delicious beverage. It's just drying me out, you know.
Yes, it has it's the aniseed in it. If you breathe in too quickly, it can go straight to your throat.
Aniseed, hooch, delicious.
I think I see Kameron.
Cameron. Oh, you look.
I've got like one of those kind of. It's got kind of cracked. It's like a magnifying glass, but it's not in decent condition. You know, it's like a lone one.
My God, man, have you slept at all today?
Sleep is for the living, which I am now.
Well, yes, of course.
Yes.
Sorry, sometimes there's a little resonance.
Lines get blurred.
I haven't really talked to people today as myself. Similar thing, but I've been busy. Yes, I've been trying to make the most of my day. The experience of getting glaviared last night did give me some interesting ideas. Yeah.
I'm sorry, I'm not familiar with that phrase.
No, it's a term.
It's a dwarven thing. You won't understand. But one day I will.
I've never met a dwarf. I don't think.
Nor I've heard the legends, but.
I did bet a she elf once though.
Oh, okay. I met a dark elf once. Was pretty cheery, surprisingly enough.
Well, they're not like dark elves just because they're like miserable or depressed.
No, I think it was something to do with his wife cheating on him. But
well, that could do it, I suppose. But normally it's about vengeance and dire blood oaths. At least that's what the lore says.
Great singing voices, though. Unless
I know.
Unless they're singing at the moon, but
you should hear them sing when they crescendo.
I have actually seen it.
I believe he's making a sex reference, Cameron.
So you and this
you see the no,
together,
never mind. Right? That would create more questions. Let's just.
I thought you had slept with this male elf, and I would have asked you about
That's when we need Sir Igress to rock up and be like, "That's no moon."
That's no moon. That's no moon.
I've come to discuss things with you.
Okay. I hope you had a productive day after our hijinks last night.
We have.
Indeed. Before we go and meet Sir Igress, though, I wanted to talk to you on a slightly more delicate personal matter, though, Cameron.
Shall I excuse myself?
No, it's fine, Wyatt. I don't mind. You may be able to shed some light on it.
Well, of course, you are a Dark Watcher, and obviously, as am I. Happy to aid you in any way I can.
Probationary member.
I was granted a seat on the council. I understand.
Yes, but they didn't grant you the rank of Dark Watcher.
No, but I think I have proven myself.
I don't disagree, but you have to talk to the master.
Yeah,
you have to talk to the great eye in the sky.
Magic summoning a Dark Watcher craves not these things. Well, as I was saying, Cameron, you know that yesterday, that whole thing with the you summoning that restless spirit, and it was inside you in a matter of being. We saw the change in your physical appearance.
Yes, it's a negotiation, Ishmael. It was an agreement we made between each other.
Now, when we first discussed the possibility of you summoning an entity to find out the information for us, you said that there were a number. Although you didn't go into details, because obviously I appreciate I'm a mere layman in such things. You suggested that the spirit of a deceased person was but one of the types of entities that you could.
Well, of
summon
course.
for.
There are many.
They are the most easy to grab hold of because they are, easier to relate to than other creatures in this world, because we are, after all, human, and we perish. So there is a connection there between the living and the dead. It's easier to speak to those kind of things. However, there are other things, other worldly creatures out here.
With enough courage and power, we could even summon the Lord of Light himself.
Well, I wasn't thinking of that, but
Possibly.
One of the lesser angels, then, perhaps.
Wyatt, and you have mentioned several times how my current physical state needs to be addressed. Is that not correct?
We do want to get you back in fighting Trim, yes.
And it seems as the plans, which I'm sure will bring Kameron up to speed with, that we've discussed.
Things have gotten more interesting, Master
Indeed.
Edward.
As we've been discussing those during the day, it seems more the case that I'm going to be called upon to physical action.
I dare say that is likely.
To put it
I think we
plainly.
will all be called upon in time to stand.
Indeed, but as we've seen so far, we are fully. It is the nature of people to fall into patterns. The two of you have your sorcery. Sorry, I don't know the exact terms. Obviously, myself and Wyatt, and of course you, Kameron, we all share a certain nobility of birth. But it seems that my role in this drama that is unfolding is to help protect the two of you whilst you're performing your sorceries, and to lend physical aid to plans that require it. And in that regard, whilst I'm happy to do so, the spirit being willing, I am somewhat hampered by my current physical state. But I have been looked at by herbalists and obviously Father Ambrogino, and whilst I am no longer infectious, the ravages the disease has taken upon my body are permanent. I won't be too
permanent
to standard medicine. That is
medicine.
what I know.
Correct.
Now,
Not outside the realms of chemical workings.
Are you wishing for me to infuse you with another spirit?
my thoughts were that if there were such an entity, and we could find one that was appropriate, since we saw that
one of the War Angels.
some aspect of the spirit, and that was a simple spirit of a dead person, were lent to your physicality. If it were possible to summon one of these other types of spirits, might it be possible to bind one to me, to at least for some period of time during which we enact our plans, alleviate some of the symptoms and enable me to fulfill my role, such as it is, with
that is within my power. Yes, there are some dangers to this.
I was going to note
Ishmael.
that there's always danger to anything that's worthwhile. What worthwhile was ever gained without there being risk?
How do you sit with our Lord of Light? How's your faith?
I am surprised you asked that question.
I have no faith in either the Lord of Light or any other such god.
Well, they believe in us, whether we believe in them. I simply ask because
It's not a matter of belief. I have no faith in them.
Believe-
I do not say they don't exist, but I have no faith in them. If they do exist, and given what I've seen, they more than likely do. They are not worthy of our adoration. They are either
Probably not.
negligent, cruel, or both. Either of which
Definitely both, probably.
Means that they are undeserving of praise.
But they also have great power, and certain agents. It's been
Indeed,
a
but they
long
lack the
time.
responsibility to use such power wisely.
Well, that is why we draw the power out of them. That's what we kind of. Cameron, it's been a while since I studied the hierarchy of angels, but perhaps one of the war angels. Thinking mid circles, 2, 3.
I give Ishmael's body like kind of an appraising look. I'm not sure that his form, his current condition could handle such a vessel.
I would say though it's more about the will. His spirit is strong. It's the body we want to reinforce. So.
My aims, and I bow to your wisdom in this regard. You are far more knowledgeable than I on the subject. My aim, as you know, Wyatt, is to help seek some measure of justice for those people whom the legal system, such as it is in this place, has failed. Indeed. And if the government, the city itself will not care for its own people, then someone has to. And that's
why we're here.
I have many bloody and horrible deeds in my life to make up for. As you know, I said that I believed this disease that ravaged my body was part of my penance, if you see it as such. But perhaps if this is the way we are to go, there is a better way for me a more direct way for me to achieve a measure of justice for those who have no other redress.
If we go this way, Ishmael, I want to do it right. So we'll take some time. I'll prepare a more fortified circle than I have previously.
And I can prepare some potions to help fortify Ishmael for the process.
Of course, I will place myself entirely in your hands, for you are far more expert.
Well, you must understand, if
me.
you're putting your body and soul in my hands to bargain with for this deal, it's a two-way street as well, Ishmael. Whatever we call upon will have its own ambitions and desires.
This is why the angels,
and the strength of which will depend upon the creature. So they could be quite forceful in their determination.
That is why I wish to ask you whether we could find one of these entities whose goals would as closely align with the ones I've just outlined as possible.
Well, there's a few options we could go. We could summon a spirit that represents the kind of thing that we wish.
Spirits of justice, they do exist.
A spirit of justice,
I do think the right way to go is to conjure one of the servants of the Lord of Light. We're in his city.
There is that, but there is.
You would make our lives simpler. Well, of course, but. Well, it sounds like we have to have our meeting first with your friend. But
speaking from experience, anything that up in the high echelon has a will that you should not contend with, because they are incredibly
I bow to your expertise, Master Redwood, in summoning. It has been ages since I've read.
I have to admit, although I would be a fool given what I have seen to deny the existence of these entities, as someone who has no faith in the gods, I would rather not place my faith, such as it is, in a spirit directly linked with the Lord of Light. These more abstract spirits that you think of, that is more acceptable to me simply because of my own history, and I've long since laid down the burden of my faith, and it troubles me no longer.
There is another option. As far as I'm aware, Amoros, does it bury its dead or does it cremate them here? or anything else, anything unusual. I don't think we established that. We may have done.
Do you have an interest in determining that either way? Because you could roll.
I'd happily roll for it.
Yeah. So what do you want to establish?
That normally with the Lord of Light that they do cremate them quite often.
That would be my.
Okay.
However, that they do on occasion, especially for nobility, I imagine, have mausoleums of certain members.
Cameron, I have an idea. This may not be possible. You and Wyatt are the experts, but you're talking of the burial rites in Kameron.
Yeah.
Make me think. We're talking about my greatest desire at the moment, in order to partly make up for my previous conduct in my former life, is to achieve some measure of justice and redress for those who have nowhere else to turn, the poor, the downtrodden, the forgotten of Kameron.
Redemption is a powerful motivator. I can understand that.
You summoned a from what I understand, and please correct me if I'm wrong, you summoned a single spirit that became part of you for a time, and then it moved on. Would it be possible for you to summon multiple spirits of the very forgotten dead, the poor and the downtrodden, the wrongfully injusticed?
Yes,
and place them into me, so that I could use them as the weapon with which we would help those who still live.
It's certainly possible, but again, this is not something we generally do, Ishmael, because multiple entities lessens your ability to control.
Yes.
Yeah, it's possible. My suggestion, and it's all on the table here, if this is your decision ultimately, is we could find a person who in life lived a just life, a life of meaning. Someone who died in a way that, in a manner of their making. This is known as the sanctified dead, correctly buried, correctly sent on. These we could, for instance, summon a hero or a well-known person from your homeland, from here,
Bring them to fight again.
That was renowned, and ask them to take up the sword once more with your aid. That is something we could do. We could find an individual that you would respect.
If we could find an individual who cared for the common man, since, as I've said, that is my goal, I would be more amenable, with respect to White, I would be more amenable to that than the angelic spirits that you mentioned.
This is also a very fine idea. I approve.
That how someone conducts themselves in life is how they will represent themselves as a spirit.
It goes in eternity.
So,
I see.
If you put, say, 3 or 4 people who've lived a downtrodden life, they may have very dark ambitions in you.
That is fair.
So, it's something to consider. But something, say, a hero of the war, a patron saint, someone, a renowned duelist, something along those lines we could look into. This city's not one for history. There are certain risks in upsetting the clergy in this city if we desecrate... Details.
Perhaps it might be best then to remain with the idea of one of these more abstract spirits, rather than the spirit of the departed.
It's certainly an idea, but those that are quite powerful in the nature of the thing they represent.
Given the strength of what we are attempting to pit ourselves against, that might be no bad thing.
I concur.
I will have to.
And this area is an area that I do have some information for. So
I'll have to consult the great wheel in the sky
quite closely.
Well, if I can leave the matter in the more than capable hands of the two of you, if obviously conduct your research as I place myself in your hands. If there is anything I can do to aid with it, although I failed to see what, since I'm not schooled in that area, of course, please let me know. But I now suggest we walk towards the to our next meeting, perhaps with the end credit music playing.
Is it that
as we
time
walk.
already?
Yeah. So we'll leave it there, and next time we're gonna launch into the meeting with the good military captain.
Thank you very much for running it. Very much enjoyed it.
Fantastic.
All right, okay, I'll end the stream here. Also, we'll do Arthur and whatever. But thank you very much for running that again. Thanks very much, guys.
Yep.
Very much enjoyed it.
Bye.
Of course.
Right, I'll end the stream here.